It's not Herodes, it's Herodies. Varieties or
Herodes. It's right there. It's live. It says LIV. It's red. Oh wow! Is it centered?
Yes.
Awesome.
Hairs.
I tell you, I can't. Let's see. Anyway, where was we at?
behind the preposition that.
It's like his question.
No, she got caught just after she incorporated. Just go back to it. When you refer to the corporation, you said that. That's when you started.
Oh, that's when it started cutting on.
Right after the brother walked in. After
Oh, okay. This is like now. We was jogging.
Now,
Oh,
it's good.
it was,
Life.
oh, here we go. Yeah. I'm sitting down now. Sharon, this is so funny. Sit down. Yes, I am. I ain't even getting back up. All right, so where's we at? The purpose of doing the allodial, affidavit of allodial record of live birth is because when mom had you, we can mess with you mamas till you fix the problem. What was that? What was the last class title?
Saying your mama put you in.
Correct the sin your mama put you in, right? Here's the sin. She left you drifting on a piece of wood like the Titanic. The Titanic fell, and you're driftwood in the middle of the ocean, right? And you have to correct this. And this is why Tier 1 is so important of the Moorish American Consulate grid. Tier 1 is important because if you're trying to claim anything, or even before you process a private trust, you have to fix the sin place you're in and correct the status in your standing in society. So that's Tier 1, correcting that, and then putting it on the public notification. Why send to the so-called 7 locations? Because that is all the people that track you as property. All the individuals that have you in their trust. And realizing that the reasons why the world is the way it is because so many people don't realize that relationship they are in. The relationship, which was a so-called birth certificate and social security number, is the tracking document. The social security number tracks that property, that cattle, that animal, whatever you want to call it, the property. And here is how they attack it. Now they might leave off that and say Sharon T. Gale, or they might even use that because now you'll see documents that'll try to be like, all right, so now they done call this, let's go use that. Even though both of them are the same, because that is absent of your title of nobility, as well as the document, the birth certificate, proved they have so-called evidence that your mother sold you when you were born. When you came out of her stomach, when she manifested you, she automatically put you in chattel property of the corporation that's named in this document, which is the so-called birth certificate, which is technically the death certificate. Your certificate of death and the creation of how they have standing so-called equal to you. Because can they have a certificate of live birth? Let's talk about it. How would they be able to have a certificate of live birth? They'd have to have nationality, right?
Right.
Or they would have to be adopted in somebody else's government.
Right.
But at the same time, you can never be equal in terms of an heir. So you would always be a subject of that infrastructure. That's why they use adopted, foster, parents, foster. You might want to look up the word foster. And then you start claiming your property after you create your private trust. And do them in conjunction, because you can do them both at the same time. But always make sure at least you sign your name declaration and your judicial proclamation. And then the impersonum jurisdiction canceling contracts you wrote in that. So you got to cancel so-called contracts you wrote in that and contracts you wrote in that. Because they're trying to hold you as property. They're trying to keep you as property. And if you haven't done these processes, and if you haven't done what? The name declaration, the judicial proclamation, the name declaration, lawful notice, the judicial proclamation, the impersonal jurisdiction, the certificate of live birth, you're putting yourself back in lawful standing and status. But you have to kill all of these. And the way you kill all of these is by doing tier 1. And then roping everything that you bought or that you thought you owned, because you don't own your house, you don't own any conveyances you drive, you don't own your children that you created, you don't own anything. This is why they come around and they take everything. Because they're holding you to the contract, the sin your mother placed you in. And she didn't tell you she placed you in that, and you didn't figure it out. And they created all this elaborate processes so you wouldn't realize that that's the issue that you have, your status. So claiming land, think about real estate. Just think about real estate. This is the lawful process that everybody is fraudulently doing currently, right? But keep in mind, property can be treated any way you want. If you can treat property any way you want, and even for property, they made this elaborate process to make you feel like you wasn't property, to try to attempt. But as soon as you stop working at a JLB, and as soon as you stop transferring your energy for dead pieces of paper, they start calling in all these contracts. So when you declare and proclaim your nationality, the first thing they start to do is calling in all these contracts you signed under that nom de guerre. Those 2 nom de guerres. So they're canceling them. And that's why they come and get the property. And you're supposed to be able to effectively rebut their claims, as well as canceling all the contracts that you signed under the nom de guerre, leaving them no way to try to hypothecate anything that belongs to you. Y'all getting me? So even though everybody wants you to, everybody's scared, like all the foreigners that come here and that dwell in some of these homes, as soon as they get these notifications, they know what it means. They'll sit here and be like, you gonna make me move? Yeah. They know you're waking up, and they know that you have superior claim to any and everything here. And they know what the Albion has done. And the only thing, just like I read in this article, or this post from Light to Jerry Bay, is the reasons why they don't teach nationality and they try to war against it is because they know they don't have a standing in society. And they know that they've been lying to their children about the so-called white status. But if you do the research on it, you know it absolutely excludes them from that qualification. The so-called American status, it completely excludes them from that, as well as the fact that they don't have nativity anywhere, that they were a created being. And they have to tell the truth. Because if they don't tell the truth, they're going to go insane.
Yep.
Literally.
Now. Yep.
If they're going to hold on to something that doesn't exist, they will cease to exist. And they have to tell their people, and they have to tell their offspring that they don't have descendability, they don't have nationality. Every place they go, they are a visitor. And they have to adhere to the laws that the nationals and the sovereigns command. And they ain't got a choice.
On that birth certificate, the MAC number, is that the same number we have, or is that a different set for this document? You told me the MAC.
What document are you talking about?
This certificate of live birth.
No, every document has a unique number, but it's connected to your MAC. Everything has a unique number, yep.
So that means we gotta get it to your office first, and then we get to assign the number.
You just tell me you need a number and I'll send it to you.
I need a number. I'm ready to do mine this week. I like this. This is hot.
Which one?
This allodial affidavit, allodial record of live birth.
Yeah, you gotta do it. You gotta put yourself back on land.
Yeah, this is heavy. Better than us. Man, love it.
And it's interesting because we have bill of attainders we gotta go that judiciary is going through because you're gonna start sending bills. And guess who can send bills?
The sovereign.
Guess who can't? Everybody else.
There you go.
Subjects.
So that means they charge 100,000 or something if you go to court, and they actually it's extortion. It's reverse. We gotta charge them.
Hell yeah. Charging them for your time and energy, the violations and the liens. You have the allodial process starts with the first document, which is what? Which is the first document? And the allodial property possession piece. Anybody know the first document? Come on, y'all.
No.
Annette, you still looking up definitions?
Can't help it. I'm a dictionary.
And I also created another document called Notification of Universal Commercial. Am I saying it right? Universal UCC1 financing statement.
National Safe Harbor.
Because you're gonna create everything's gonna have its own unique record number, and everything is going to be linked. So when you sit here and lien these individuals, you're gonna let them know you liened them, and that's where the notification document comes in, where you're gonna notify them, you're gonna and send them to the links to the actual documents that they're gonna download and know, right? So everybody through the process of possession. So the so-called owner claiming to be the owner of the property, and what's the other one? And the actual residence itself, you're gonna do liens on those. You're gonna lien them, and that's gonna be a part of the process. So you're gonna do the first document, which was what? Anybody found it yet? Nobody looking?
Affidavit of allodial secured land property. Affidavit of allodial secured land property possession written statement.
That's document one.
It's all in, right?
It's all here?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it's the same thing.
So the first document in the property possession process is the affidavit of allodial secured land possession and written statement. And in that document, what is that document doing? It's letting everybody know what?
Then you're
That you're coming,
taking your room.
taking it from
Right? And the documents that are attached to that is the actual title to the land. So it's the actual title to the land where this so-called residence is. That's why you have to get rid of that. You have to neutralize the so-called residence or address because that's corporate. So that's being X-railed. So you're neutralizing this and you're neutralizing that fake owner. So those are two liens that have to be done in this allodial, the first process. So I have to say, so when you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, and you're doing the title. That's 4 documents. And a lot of administrative processes and notifications as well. And the way that I'm doing it, because I've done this like 3 times now, I'm on to my 3rd property that I've claimed and conveyed into my trust, which is why Tier 2 is important. Of the grid, you have to have your trust done so you can protect everything you convey into it. And it's protected. Moors, you are unalienable and inalienable because you're not property. You're no longer dead in the eyes of the law. So you're going to do the first lien and the second lien, right? And you're going to go to the tax assessors, the tax assessor department of that infrastructure called the county of whatever corporation it's of. So the county, the county of the Delaware County has a tax assessor website because they have to keep track of the so-called property that they have in their trust, so they can make sure people paying their taxes. And if people ain't paying their taxes, then they do what? They foreclose. The sheriff comes because the sheriff is in control of these things because they're corporations. Hello? But once you get out of that status and you become a natural living being, and you have proof and validation of that, and you put them on notice, now they work for you as that natural being, as the people. Their first duty is to the people. But if all the people corporations, then do they have a duty to people?
No.
But they have a duty to people when they get outside of this conundrum. And if they don't do it, that still doesn't mean that, one, it means they're no longer in that capacity and you can ignore them, and you protect and defend what's yours. Because regardless if they will assist or not assist, means it doesn't stop any of this from happening. U.S. Marshal and the peace treaty, the peace officers will be on deck fixing all of this and supporting and securing us. But we got to do our part by declaring and proclaiming our nationality, standing up for what we know, and being in unity. So the affidavit of allodial secured land possession, that document is done. And that document is putting on notification this person. Who are the other people that? It's putting the so-called owner that's listed on the website. So it's going to put the so-called owner. Who else? So-called mayor. The so-called police department that's around there, so they know this is this is private property. This is no longer under your jurisdiction because it's no longer corporate. Also, Secretary of State. Also, who else? Anybody got the instructions?
Recorder of deeds.
Recorder of deeds. You want to record this and this. And if you want to record, the more you record, the higher the contribution they like. But if you do just those two is enough, and then just link these in.
Come up.
With the record number and the link. Get a script. Right there. That's what she's talking about. And record everything on script or the file section of the Facebook group. As well as the Moorish American Consulate website is going to be updating public notifications. So if we have some Moors out there that know how to do web design, please call Sharon Tracy Galbay, please. I don't want to do everything. The Spirit told me to delegate. I'm delegating. So do the delegating. Does that sound right? I don't think that sounds right.
Okay, so so we do a lien on, say, where a courthouse is, in media. Okay, so now we take this. Once the lien is in place, okay, we can next day just do this process on the property itself.
You do it the same day.
So that means you don't need a court order to the sheriff like you did, like they do.
You are the so-called court.
We are the law. We are the government.
We the law. We the
We are
government.
the government.
So their oath of office
Anything
is
within their infrastructure is subject matter, and you are no longer a subject. Subject. That is the infrastructure they created to hypothecate everything that you need. So the Moorish National Republic federal government, the Moorish American Consulate, and the viziers, those are the ones with delegation of authority, lawful position, and consul commission. Consuls are supposed to be determining claims between Albions and Moorish American nationals. But if you got a deed, well, you got that through a fictitious corporation. It's fictitious. They can't establish any deeds because who gave them charters to do that?
Right, they can't do title either.
Of course they can't do title because
Yeah.
they here too.
I set up a title company a couple years ago, and we were doing stuff, and they was claiming that I was fraud, but they couldn't do anything, so I'm still doing it. So
They're gonna sit here and put you on the news and sit here try to call you all types of stuff so they can make their people feel comfortable and to assure them they're not gonna lose their property. You don't have any property. You are property. And property can't own property. So you're squatting right now.
Absolutely.
And you've been squatting since you came in the 1800s. And you owe all that back rent.
Oh yeah.
actually, as far back as 1789, because George Washington never paid. They had a meeting in 1793 with the Senate, a secret meeting, and they were dealing with ransoms against the some of the, what do you call them, the other functions in the empire.
You said you had the stuff?
So they
The
were
instructions?
meeting to steal
This one?
and not pay.
Thomas Jefferson,
Yep.
John Quincy Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Martin Luther King.
Set with their own bankers, yeah, they were doing that.
So
They were-
yeah, under the repossession of property process,
Religious corporation?
this document, along with a copy of the title, along with the liens for the so-called owner, as well as the lien on the address because it's corporate, has to be established. And you're gonna record it at the recorder of deeds down at the county, because you're putting it on a public notice. You're gonna give it to Governor General, U.S. State Attorney General, U.S. Department of State, Secretary of State, the mayor, and the police enforcement that is domiciled. That's giving them due process, administrative procedure. And the affidavit of a allodial secure land title is your affidavit to claim along with the title. And it's their responsibility, if they have a claim, to bring it and submit a rebuttal within 3 days. We have 3 days for this because y'all been here for about since 1800. We're not giving you 30 days and all this other stuff. We're giving you 3 days. You've been here a long time. You should have already established some type of something.
Right.
Or maybe you should never came outside of your standing and status based on the Constitution.
Could you repeat those steps again?
They in the paperwork already. Yeah.
Oh, see, that's what I told you. Oh,
Sure.
You're going to also create a cover letter and a rebuttal rebuttal document. And the cover letter is just letting them know, okay, you got about 3 days to rebut this claim. Any unrebutted affidavit from the sovereigns of the land stands as law.
It is.
Every unrebutted affidavit stands as law. So when you don't get any rebuttals to this claim, now you are the owner of that property. You see how easy that was? It seemed like a big long process because you got to do this lien, you got to do this lien, you got to do the title, you got to do this document, you got to get the information from the tax assessor's website, and then you got to put everybody on notification. You can do it in literally a day. You literally can do all of this in 1 day
On one property.
on one property. And I would say claim three. Give yourself a month, 30 days. Claim 3 properties.
Again,
Find where you want them. Do this first process on all of them. Don't matter what so-called county. So depending on what county, you're gonna go to that document and get that information. And you're gonna put them all on notification. But the purpose of doing the tier 1 is to let them know that you already done taken yourself out of their dead status, as well as neutralized and killed and terminated and canceled all contracts under this and under this. Because when they come and send you anything in the mail, and when they try to hypothecate the body, it's because they think it's because you might not have neutralized a contract, or they're trying to test to see if you really that national and gonna see if you gonna step into subject matter. Only subjects talk subject matter more. Y'all gotta get out of the habit of doing what our ancestors used to do. Every elevation of keys, you have to drop some of the stuff that you were doing prior to. And that's where you were sitting here talking about the USC code, blah, 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 blah. You ain't gotta talk about none of that. That's subject matter. Why bring up something that's subject to them?
Their commerce, yeah.
It's subject. And right now they outside of law. You don't even bring that up because you're bringing in subject matter. Just stand on your law. Stand on the treaty. Stand on the supreme laws of your land. And don't talk subject matter. In personam jurisdiction. You'll never go wrong by not stepping outside of yourself. Once you step outside of yourself, they're going to try to rope you in on some dead contract. And when we talk about contract law, you have to be a party to law to talk about contract law. You have to be a party to it, meaning you have to be your proper person. Because outside of law, ain't none of this contractually. But at the same time, law don't apply to you. All law. Why do you think we praise all law? Message. Because you stay on law, you stay on all law, you ain't gonna have no issues. Nobody gonna be able to refute you, nobody ever gonna rebut you, and you're fine. So that's the first process for the repossession of our property. First tier. Awesome, right? You see how easy it is to claim land, and you see what they do in the so-called real estate?
Yes.
Do you want to know what they do in that? Because first of all, they're getting a so-called license to do it from the same county that's robbing everybody. And all they do is kick some ward out of the property and put another ward in there.
So down the street there's Martin Elfont. I think it's Martin Elfont. So they have an open house. I started walking in before I came here, just to walk in there act like I'm buying. And you mean to tell me I want to make sure I got this.
And they don't own it.
Right.
Because that's who's establishing the deed. Who's writing it?
They're a title company and them.
Yeah.
And they can't do it, really.
It's a title company and them, and who's signing it?
The ward.
You be the only one signing those damn.
Okay. That means I can go spot all those properties that's got those signs and claim everything. No questions asked.
Yeah,
And
I
all
will do
those
that.
vacant-
Hell yeah.
And industrial buildings too.
All
and
of
everything.
them. So we can have a Moorish, we can have our own building and be rocking it.
In the words
Be
of Marvin
rocking it.
Gaye,
The school
let's
district of
get it
Philadelphia
on.
has been always vacant. And if I knew her, man, if I knew this.
Do it. Then we'll have a school in a month. It's already vacant. No, don't go get one in a really well. You might want to get one in a bad neighborhood, but at the same time, damn.
No, you take the headquarters right there on Broad Street. Why not?
Good idea.
As big as it is, come on.
What? Which one?
Right there.
Is it empty?
The Germantown House
Pretty much is most of the time.
What you mean?
Oh,
Pretty much is
Germantown
most
Hospital.
of the time. What
Yeah.
that
The school
mean?
Big
district of Philadelphia is so
trying to
big
get in there, but
that
we can
most of the rooms are
scoop
empty.
it up.
It's the headquarters where the board is.
Because they yeah. Go ahead.
So I know people been trying to get there
If
for
we
years.
have an abandoned, if this could be a project we all do together. Whereas though we get one building,
She said the Marriott.
Is it empty?
Big. All right.
We want some empty. We want some empty first, just so we can establish academies for children, so we can give them knowledge, not education, and it'll have everything else in it, the consulate, everything else in it, because it's big enough. And then we'll have a section for displaced Moors who got kicked out of their domiciles because of some of the contracts that they signed under the nom de guerre. The nom de guerre got kicked out. The Moorish American National go up in there with no ties. I know it's different, but you know your bones and your spirit is already talking to you, saying Sharon is saying the most full.
Crazy stuff.
They ain't saying crazy. He just spelled the shit out of me in back. He said crazy.
No,
What was y'all thinking?
Actually, I
Speaking
can vouch for
from rules.
in case
He said
anybody's
crazy.
Crazy cool, baby.
Don't try to fix it up.
in case anybody's in doubt, not only is this Sharon speaking properly, but I know how to acquire real estate, vacant real estate, residential, in the fiction. And because I know that, what she's saying is making too much sense. Okay,
That's
'cause
all they
we
do.
had to do liens in the fiction. So
They kick all the
we
wards
create
out.
the tax lien.
Put
So
another ward
she's
in.
doing it, you gotta create the tax lien, because we are
What about
the
it?
tax lien. So this is correct. That's why I'm like, oh my God, I know
And then
this.
now that the UPU is the bank again, because that's how we were supposed to be. That's how we traditionally did business through the UPU. That's why how you see all our elderlies, and y'all be sitting here thinking they so old school and weird. They go take their butts right to the post office, get their money orders, and cash checks, so-called checks at the post office, because that's where you were supposed to be doing it, and until they did the hypothecation with the Federal Reserve banks,
Right.
and now they got all these bullshit ass commercial banks with no money in them.
Hold on. Say that again.
You ain't hear me?
Say that again.
So all our liens are going to be monetized at the post office.
Post office.
Yeah, I'll be honest, you better get scared. You better learn. We gonna bang that ass till the bones bleed.
Because if you look at it back in the day, that's what they used to rob. They used to rob the postal service.
Because that's where all the money was.
Where all the money was, right.
And so they hypothecated. And the only way they was able to hypothecate is because we was ignorant. Because the sin mommy put us in. And now she's trying to sit here like, well, Sharon, you are just going roll with me. I don't know what's going on with you. No, baby, I'm fixing the sin our mothers put us in. Don't worry. Everybody in my family gonna be subjects of my trust until you declare and proclaim your nationality. Everybody. Already there, just so you know. Already there.
Looking out for the welfare.
Looking out for the welfare of our heirs, who, even though y'all put them in the sin, I did it too, but I took them out. They out. They're free babies. So when on their so-called live birthday, they have something to celebrate. Because I'm tired of seeing all of our babies walking in these neighborhoods doing absolutely nothing. Nothing. And y'all sitting, guess what all the adults are doing? In the house, watching TV, or at the POW camp, furtherly denationalizing their heirs and their babies. And then getting mad at them when they don't go out there and get a JOB. Or they can't compete. Because the system was built for them not to be able to.
Right.
They don't need to be walking around doing nothing. Nothing all day. And the only aspirations they have is to play basketball or football. And for women to be a model or a rapper or something. It's raining.
And
It's like, it's sunny and raining at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
You know what I'm saying?
Something's gonna grow.
And just because you think you're a parent, it takes more to raise a child by just providing a roof and food, but you let them run all over the place. You're going to stop doing that. I should not see little babies walking all over the place with no supervision and you think it's okay because it's been okay. It's not okay. You're going to stop doing that.
And I wonder why they smashed.
They're going to go into Moorish academies and learn not only their culture, their heritage, but how to effectually manage their estate. Since mommy has abandoned hers, it's fine because the babies have it regardless of if you nationalize or not. They have it. They don't have to wait for you to do it. And law treats to that. Nationality is the order of the day. You have the right to a nationality. You cannot be deprived of a nationality. It also says you can change it, but you can't change your nationality. Just so you know. It's based on your star date. You can't change that. So, miss me with that part. And if you don't know knowledge, you're going to fall for those traps. Oh, I want to be this month. Oh, I want to be this next month. No, babies. But they have to say that because some people don't have a nationality. You have to be adopted in, meaning you have to abide. You have to stand on the laws of that nation or you will not be a part of it anymore because people will kick you out. And contrary to popular belief, we're not going to be like our brothers and sisters over in South Africa. We're not just going one day you're going to come home and see people in their house that you think was your house and they didn't go through this whole process to prepare you. We're giving you this process to prepare you for the movement and the reconvening of the Moorish estates to the heirs. We're giving you notification. But keep in mind, you knew this back in the 1800s this was coming.
Yes,
You knew that you weren't American. You knew that you were not white persons. And you knew that you did not have no descendability here. So you already knew this was coming. And we're giving you time to prepare. So you got 3 days to rebut this document. And if you already domicile, or not domicile, if you're already squatting in property, some people are going to give you 30 days. If I've claimed, titled up a property, and there's somebody squatting in it, you got 30 days. You're going to have 30 days to leave.
Stop packing them bags.
You gotta go. You gotta go. And any damages you create, you'll be held to those damages. Because I'll do an assessment, walk through, and see what the heck might have got damaged. And I'm going to send you a bill. So Do no rickety dickety stuff. Just walk and be. Because keep in mind, where are you going? Nobody else is going to take you. Know this. You've burnt your bridges everywhere you've been. And this is your last stance. So stand in solidarity to the laws the Moorish American Nationals set. Because we're on love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We have to be that way for us. We have to be that way for you. There'll be no murder, death, killing here. There'll only be you getting out the house. And you can take your conveyances with you. Because we're going to get on. You can have them. Pile all your crap in there. Because you're going to be in the hood where you got our people. Gonna move. Switch.
Sharon,
So thank you for keeping very, very good care of our
Estates.
property.
Yeah.
I have to give you that.
amongst the squatters, Albions, foreigners, pilgrims, the code talk was we have to get prepared for Dred Scott's revenge. They would always say stuff like Dred Scott's revenge, referring to us as Dred Scott.
Yeah, because
we ain't black.
no, because think about the Dred Scott revenge.
Right.
Yeah, he thought the only thing he was missing was it wasn't the only thing.
Like we wouldn't pick it up. We know that y'all were talking.
Yeah, like the Dred Scott, you go into their venues and you don't realize your claim is dead already because your status was lacking. And guess what? The roles are reversed. Now you Dred Scott, and now you ain't got no status and no standing, therefore no claim. Karma comes and hits everybody. Automatic. And there ain't nothing you can do about it. Nothing. Do we have questions? Are we good at this part? Because I don't want to go to the second tier, because actually the second tier of the allodial process is sending out the default notices. Because you gave them 3 days and they ain't rebut. There's supporting documentations that go with these documents, and the instructions have those documents, as well as the file section, as well as Scrib has them uploaded based on the record number, and that can be found in the document recording report. That's also filed in the file section of the group. It's called the document recording report. So that has this document right here, which has a bunch of record numbers, and associated with those record numbers is the supporting documentation to send for the affidavit of allodial secured land property possession written statement. And one of them, for instance, the first one, for instance, is the affidavit is this document. So it's going to get a record number. So send me text messages like, oh, Sharon, I need a record number if you're in the Northeast. Oh, Sharon, I need a record number for my title, and I'll just shoot you one. And then later, once you finish it all up, just send me a PDF of it, and I'll put it in the recordings. And then eventually, once I get the public notice page updated, it'll appear there. The affidavit of Universal Commercial Code financing statement. That's 2 of them. One for like I said, one for the owner, one for their address. Then the clear perfect title itself. Then the ecclesiastical cancellation and abolishment of all land patents. Then the religious corporation affidavit of organization. Then the affidavit of international trust of the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the world, and it'll have corresponding record numbers. And I updated this document and scanned them into my Scrib, so there's a tracking. There's a link where you can just put the link in there and not necessarily the documents, because you'll end up sending about 50 pages. And I'm about cutting down on cutting trees. So I created this document, but it has the corresponding link addresses for them to download it themselves.
So you abridged it so they can go do it.
Yeah, go do it yourself. When I give a command, you got to do everything I say.
That's what I wanted to ask. So we can't use those links in our land.
Yeah, you can use the links. When you go in there, most people have Scrib. They'll be able to upload, they'll be able to look at it. Most people have Scrib accounts, and then they'll be able to download it, but you'll at least be able to see it. And that's a global account. That's a global website, so people all over the world can see what we're doing here at Morocco. As well as, eventually we'll have links to the actual website, whereas though anybody can have it and don't have to, do any extra things, which is why it should be in the public record as well, through the recorder of deeds. And going forward, we're going to start putting all of these things on records, and the more Moors that do it, the better. So if you once you put it on the record, it's there. So all of the supporting documentation that I just described for my first property that I did the title for, which is XREL 36 North Harwood XREL, and it's now called Yeshua Moabite Estate. Retitle the property, and when you retitle it, call it what you like.
Let me ask you a
But
question.
don't call it the address.
Recorder of deeds, especially in Philadelphia, they give you some places in New Jersey they'll accept 8.5 by 42, but a lot of them still.
I know, just scan it on a 8.5. I mean 8. It just scan it on the letter and just print it out. Because when you scan it, it'll scan in the legal. But then when you want to print it, just change your printer settings to letter.
Yeah.
And then take the originals over and get it recorded. Because the next document will be it's called the affidavit of default notice along with the non-response. So they can't respond to you because they're dead. So you already know they're not going to rebut it. So 3 days later, send out the non-response notice of default. I posted my drafts out there for people to see what it looks like. And then in that, I put a cover letter with the links to everything else on it. And then there's also the part that where the writ of execution, where this is where the acting sheriff comes in, where you say, look, I've done the administrative process to claim this allodial property. Here's my allodial title. Sign this writ of execution. I'm in controversy with getting them to sign any of my documents because they're outside of our nationality and they're outside of our government. So I propose Moors get consuls or the viziers to sign it and just take it down there and let them know I need the keys to that property if you don't already have it, or just let them know I'll be down there probably later on this week and I'll be changing the locks on that property automatically. I mean, you don't want their keys because you don't know how many duplications might be out there. So technically, you just want to go change the locks on the conveyances. I'm sorry, on the domiciles, and do what it is that you want to do with it. If you want to rent them out, but if you rent them out for lawful money. So if somebody says, oh, I want to rent your property, then you say, all right, it's going to be 12. Say 12, maybe 12. No, that ain't a lot. 20 or 30 silver pieces, silver coins a month. So they got to liquidate it and give it to you in lawful currency. And this is how you get your finance back because they already got probably, what do you call it, safes with real lawful money that they really use because only dead people who don't have, and this is why they so mad about the Federal Reserve going away because that's their standing. That Federal Reserve is them. When that's gone, they're gone. And they got to sit here and beg. Now they're going to beg.
That's their economy.
That is their economy, and it's gone, y'all. It's already gone. Y'all the ones just got to wake up to the reality and start claiming. Like I said in my last video, get a shopping cart, walk your butt down the block, and see which ones you like. And when you claim them and claim property that people dwell in, that's how you're going to get your finance. And then, by the time you finish this whole administrative process, it's gonna be do a whole block. You do a whole block in 30 days. You getting silver in the bed, and you getting silver. No, you ain't gonna get it in the mail. I would go and collect. But like, I'm here for, and you tell them like, all right, on this day, either come by, drop it off, or mail it certified, return receipt, something like that to me, or evict them.
That's right.
Do the same crap they do to you, but you're gonna do it in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, because you're gonna give them all types of time. And that's why you should claim a domicile where nobody's really dwelling in right now. Because if you're currently living in a domicile or in a domicile, you have a corporate contract on it.
Get off.
You already got one on there.
You're like iceberg slim.
So claim like 3 properties. Make sure one is empty in case you need to move over there. And then when they kick out the non-gear, go back in as the sovereign. You have no, every angle you look at, you win. Every one. So claim 10 properties, 3 with no one in it, 3 with people in it, and tell them to pay you in a loyal lawful money. And that's how you get your bank filled with gold and silver. Hi, Santa Boy. I said it in a nutshell. We'll see who has their first property, the first tier, done next week. Everybody already got a so-called house in mind. A house you've been looking at. You like. Every time you travel by it, you be like, I love that house. You already know. I done claimed 3. The first process. And I'm talking about you more out there too on social media. I want the allodial, secured land property possession piece done. I want the so-called owner claiming it liened. I want the address liened. And I want the title established by next week.
That's a home.
Because I plan on going into my domicile on Friday, and the more people welcome, the merit. What am I trying to say? I want Moors to be there with me because I have work to do, and y'all got to do some work, and I command you to help me do it. So on Friday, we're going to organize this week and see how many Moors are going to come in and help me take those boards off the doors, put new locks on it, and start just getting in there and just cleaning it up. I don't plan on actually moving anything in yet because I want to do some improvements to it. I want to do electrical work done. I want to make sure there's no bugs in there because, you know, I don't know who's been going in and out. And it got to get cleaned up.
I have a question.
That's the old X-Rail. Y'all already know where I domicile. Y'all know where the Moorish American Consulate was. Y'all know exactly where it's at.
Something similar to this. Okay, so a court case.
Here we go with a court case.
The case number can actually be where the X-Rail address would be, right? The case number. They hypothecate the case number. That's some kind of
What
excuse.
we talking about the case number
Well,
for?
because the court, you can do the same thing. It looks like you can. You got the venue itself, and then you have the case number, right?
I'm not overstanding what it is you're saying.
I
Why
wanna
did you go
put a
into
lien
case?
on the case,
How you putting a lien on the case? It is a bond, but it's a bond. It's a debt.
right? But it's
It's
100
not an
million.
asset.
But it's 100 million, and go back off of tenant that there's an issue that's raised. You wrote it in the notice of removal, so it makes sense to put that on there, so they can't continue to charge you, claiming they charging something. Reverse it, and I'm making this up.
Can you explain this? Huh?
What he's saying is in the notice of removal, you know how you got a price for everything that they do to you? Well, in there is
Notice of removal?
do it, yeah. From the court cases.
Right? There's a
You alright? Okay, go ahead.
Oh, from the court cases inside of it, inside of the paperwork, he must have sat there and read the whole thing and saw that there's a, you know, the amount of money charged for them to proceed with the court case, to keep going with the court case. In other words, he wants that money that's in that area on the notice of removal.
Y'all gonna have to show me what y'all talking
it
about.
says what it
Give me your
says.
notice of removal out your
I
bag.
kind of
It
get
says
with this. You with this?
Your notice of removal.
it says one. It says
I don't have no notice of
Looking
removal.
at that.
it says
Yeah,
one. No, I got it
I got
because the question's valid. If we're doing the property and we're claiming it in this parcel of real estate, they're doing the same thing, claiming you as property, and we gotta reverse it because you have on here 100 million. Let me show you. Because I was reading, I'm sitting here figuring this out. Wow, we could. There it is.
No,
It
exactly.
says
Must
under
got a lot
federal
of
question.
time.
It says the amount in controversy is lawful money, 100 million, pursuant to Article 1, Section 10. Now, the court.
Good afternoon. The library will be closing in 30 minutes at 5 o'clock.
The court
Please
said,
bring all materials to the front desk for checkout.
the
The
court
public
said-
computers will automatically shut off in 20 minutes at 10:05. If you have any printing to do, please do so within the next few minutes. Thank you.
The court says that it's $100,000 bail or whatever the issue is that they got. And they got an affidavit of probable cause and speculation. That's their bond. So here we are, right here, we're talking about an issue of 100 million, and they're actually operating in fraud, so we can switch it around and claim the bond and put the lien on it. Then they can't charge. I'm making this up as I go along and I'm reading this. I'm thinking, how do we charge them 100 million?
Well, you gotta first have the bond.
Well,
They're never going to show you the bond because
Yeah, I got-
it's
They do. They give you the bond.
Huh?
You get the bond. They never talk about
How
it.
do
but you
they?
get-
How?
You talking
The
about the big
bond
bond?
is the
Big bond?
No, the affidavit of probable cause traffic is a prime example, right? And then they
Yeah.
put the charges on it. That's the bond. They never talk about it. Declaring the issue, that's the issue. The issue is the bond. So that's it right there. For me, they made it real clear, 130,000. 100,000 for the bail, 30,000 for the cost for each of the charges. Oh, okay. So it's 130,000. I got it. So I'm thinking, damn, I could create a lien with this for 100 million and get them back, reverse it, and stop that nonsense. That's what I'm trying to do
That's a
right
good
now.
point.
That's why I'm bringing this up.
But how are you? What are you? So you're leaning the bond.
Put a lien on the case, which is
is the bond.
and that
The case
includes,
is the
and
bond.
that includes all the lawyers that are listed, okay? And that's why I got all the oaths of office. I got every single one of them, and then that
You
includes
don't
the
really
judge.
need the Oval Office.
But
It's so
everything.
unnecessary. But
No,
go ahead.
but I'm creating a constitutional committee because then it forces the treason to be exposed. And if they're going to be part of the constitutional committee, which I'm the chairman of, then they have to cast away the treason and act right. If they don't, they'll be committed for treason. That's what I'm trying to do, reveal it. So they have to address the situation properly. Because they won't take it out and let us go into consular court. They're trying to drag it on. Okay, well,
They're
fix
dragging
that.
it on because of personam jurisdiction being challenged. You're challenging personam jurisdiction, but at the same time talking subject matter.
I'm not talking subject matter.
No, when you go into those tribunals.
I haven't talked subject matter. I haven't talked.
So what are you saying when you go in there?
I haven't continuous. That's it.
The continuance is subject matter. Why are you continuing it?
I didn't know the subject matter.
You're asking them to delay
They're saying
proceeding.
it can only continue. Have a continuous on the subject matter. That's why it's continuous.
They gotta cut it.
Yeah.
You got to stand on personam jurisdiction and say that's not me. You don't have jurisdiction. We have no binding contracts, and if there's a contract, you have to produce it so I can satisfy it. That's the bond, the contract. But it's not talking about the Moorish American National. It's talking about the so-called
Non-big way.
the dead note that you killed with
Right.
the certificate of live birth, your nationality, as well as the in personam jurisdiction statement canceling all contracts.
Okay, I've been putting that in there, so that stuff's. I did that right.
Because it's fraud anyway.
Right.
What starts in fraud ends in fraud. There's no statute of limitation on fraud.
All right. I gotta correct that situation real fast.
We got. I mean, you keep continuing it, but like no. You need to set me free because you don't have jurisdiction over me.
Right.
I put enough in there to make
That's
sure
it.
it's real clear, no jurisdiction. So
That's it.
That's it. All right. That's probably why they let it go for 2
In
months. 'Cause I
of
kicked
course,
their ass.
because they hoping they gonna get you to submit to jurisdiction some kind of way and get you to sign some shit.
I ain't gonna sign nothing. I won't be able to.
Sharon,
Oh, I'm cursing, y'all.
I got a
Thank you.
I can get you 35.
Salute,
They got an
Ken.
18 downstairs.
They got a who?
18 downstairs. I can give you 35.
Oh, an ATM.
Yeah.
You got Cash App, PayPal?
I can send it to your PayPal.
PayPal.
Okay.
You got the information?
Yeah, I got your information.
And what's?
It's already.
I love this.
Ty, you must be an
It's
Aries.
already
beautiful.
in my,
You Aries?
Did
On
you?
my
Oh, this is your
PayPal.
actual
Scorpio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
man. If you can sit there
He
and
fought hard, long and hard on
Get
that.
focused in, man. Get passionate. Just stay on it.
also,
They
is
had the
this
business
my copy?
doing
What's
that to me.
this?
No.
You need a copy?
No.
What's your
No, that's
moon?
fine.
Oh, he wanted sealed. I'm saying like because I saw the two signatures. I'm like,
You double water or triple water?
I know a water sign. I don't know what triple water is.
I'm
I know it's
saying.
Cancer.
Here's your
What's your rising
Scorpio
sign?
and Cancer. What's your rising?
I don't know. That's why I can't do the birth
we still got the
certificate.
green.
I think
Islam,
Scorpio right now.
Islam Moors. Everybody say Islam. Islam. Hold on. Don't move yet. And does anybody know the prayer?
I know the prayer. Let me
Say
get
that
up
prayer. Go ahead, say that prayer. We're gonna close out. Are you serious?
I'll get up there. I'll get up there.
You gotta say it 3 times. And why is it 5 on the left, 2 on the right?
I don't know.
I know, man. Nobody knows. I need to know.
What is the 5 principles? I tried to look it up
You
last.
did?
And I know 5 is for the 5 principles. I still couldn't find out why 2.
man and woman. What did they
That's cool. Follow.
Yeah, you got your
All right,
love
come on.
piece
Let's say the
in
prayer.
Okay. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love,
Truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Everybody.
Allah
Allah is my protector and my guide and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, noble Drew Ali. Amen. Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Amen. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Amen. And you're supposed to be facing the east.
So molded be.
So molded be. Now you can stop it. Islam, happy Sunday.